My name is Ben and I am 27 years old. I live in Breckenridge, Colorado. In the summers I like dirt biking. In the winter I try to do as much snowboarding as I can. I try to get on the mountain at least once a week, if not multiple days. First time I came across vaping, I was 17 years old and I walked into a shop in the city and we had just come across this brand new device that essentially was new to the world. We ended up trying it out and one of my friends kept it for a little bit. As I got older, I ended up buying a new updated version. So when I was 20 years old, I was starting to vape pretty consecutively every day. I was smoking an inhaled vaporizer and trying to find different ways or different nicotine juices that I could use, different flavors to add into my collection. By the time I was 22 or 23, I found myself full into this vapor life and having all the gear and all the equipment to smoke a vape. The first time I vaped, I never really thought anything of it. I just kind of was trying out a new thing, like smoking a cigarette or trying alcohol. And to me, it stuck with something that I was going to do for the rest of my life, or something I was going to be doing 10 years down the road. And looking back on it now, if I could not take that hit or not even really consider any type of electronic smoke, then I feel like I'd be much better off today. At that age, I had just lost my grandfather to smoking cigarettes. He was pretty young too. He was in his 60s, and I mean now we're living to be in our 80s and 90s if you treat your body right. So for him, I saw it firsthand, and I hated smoking cigarettes. I stayed away from tobacco as a kid and saw it firsthand what it could do to people. You know, my uncle had open heart surgery in his 30s and had a heart attack on the table from smoking cigarettes, and I thought a vape would be a good alternative at the time. And something in the back of my mind was always kind of sticking with me, you know, this is a new thing. Cigarettes were new at one point. They said that was healthier than anything. So back then, 10 years ago, we didn't know what smoking a vape would do to you. And now I can feel the repercussions in my lungs. And you know, I'm a free ride snowboarder. I compete in competitions, and it takes away from my athletic ability, I'd say, at this point. Going back to when I first got my first vape, I was with a group of friends, and we decided to go into the shop and see what this guy had. So it was a group thing, you know, it was never just me on my own. But now as I got older, I find that I'm the only one smoking a vape. I'll show up to places and maybe a friend will say, hey, can I get a hit of your vape? And I'm the one giving them a puff on it. And I end up paying for the juice and the pods, and people are kind of taken away from me at this point. So in the end, you know, yeah, you start as a group, but you end up being the only one doing it. To this day, I still do smoke a vape. I try to not, but it's the first thing I grab sometimes when I wake up. It's pretty tough when you rely on a little electronic device to get you up in the morning, but that's kind of the reality of the situation. I'm gonna go back for a second. You know, vaping was always something that I felt that I had to keep from my family and my friends that didn't know I necessarily did it. Even my sisters and the people that I grew up with, I felt like I had to hide it from. And as I get older now, I have to hide it in my current relationships. My girlfriend does not let me and does not want me smoking a vape. So I know that it can do damage on my relationships the more it's exposed to them, and I'm hopefully going to be able to not be able to continue this life. Quitting vaping is one of the hardest things I probably say I've tried to do, especially after the last few years of smoking the devices that come in pods, you know, Juuls and Enjoys. When it's that readily available to go and get it at the local convenience store, it's kind of hard to pass up on when you're buying some chips or a soda. And to me, quitting, I mean, it's something that I've tried to do a few times. I've gone months without smoking, and then I end up finding myself smoking again. And it could be, oh, I found the vape and I lost the vape, and going back and forth in that cycle. And when you see it again in your life, it makes you definitely question the power of what you're actually doing. You know, when I first started vaping, I never understood that this is something that was going to be more addicting than smoking cigarettes, because I have tried to smoke cigarettes and that was not for me. You know, I never really liked tobacco and what that does to your lungs. So quitting vaping is not something I expected to be hard, but here I am 10 years later still smoking a vaporized device. So, you know, stress is the number one thing, and I'd say you get into a certain situation or a routine where you expect certain things. When I wake up, I sometimes want to smoke my vape, and if I don't have it, I'll be an angry person and I'll not really want to talk to anyone until I can find it. And having that kind of stress in your life is almost unnecessary, and it's almost doubly added from smoking vape. Yeah, I've gone back and forth with trying to quit, and the hardest thing is actually committing to it. You know, growing up, I never had any help and support with vapes. It was something that was really new to my society, in my generation as a kid. So I never really seek support or even knew that there was support there. And the fact that there is support and other options makes me want to go look for that kind of opportunity, because yeah, I never had that opportunity really presented to me before. I grew up with an older and a younger sister. I'm a middle child, and I know that my younger sister, I have smoked a vape with her, so it's something that might run in the family, just the addiction aspect of it. And that almost, to me, it's tough because I know what it does to me, so I can only imagine what it would be doing to someone who's smaller than me and, to me, a little bit more fragile. And the fact that vaping can control your life like that just makes me like worry about my siblings and hope that they're not in the situation where I am. I know that my family and my friends worry about me vaping. Especially my loved ones. They tell me to stop. They tell me if they keep finding me doing it, they're gonna end up, there's gonna be bad repercussions. I always have my family members and my loved ones throwing away my vape if they do find it. So it's a stressful life, because you end up going to buy another one and you're spending a lot of money on something that overall you don't need in your life. You know, it makes me want to quit even more, and I think the toughest thing is not having that strength to quit, being in a situation where all your loved ones want you to quit, you want to quit, but the only thing that is continuing you to vape is yourself, your own addiction. So making that call on yourself is tough to do, but you have to do that. If I saw my 17-year-old self coming out of that store in the city with a vape in my hand, I would just, 1, take it out of myself's hand, 2, throw it in the trash can, and 3, tell that person that they have bigger and better things to do with their life and not to get addicted to vaping. If you're anything like me and you need help quitting vaping, visit vapingsucks.org.